Welcome back. Mr. Koroi, just on this question, can members access their preserved accounts if they've exhausted their general account?
Thank you. I think first of all, let me convey our sincere empathies with a lot of our members who have been displaced of their workplaces, especially during this pandemic. It's quite an unforeseen event, and our hearts and our prayers are going out with those that are affected during this crisis. In terms of your question, we're grateful that government has agreed to assist those members who have exhausted their general account. This is quite a great thing for the members, because they are not allowed to touch into or to dip into their preserved accounts. So only the members that have exhausted their GA, they may still have a lot of their preserved account in their preserved account, but because of this situation, the government is topping up their entitlements under the policies that we have been given. So to your question, the preserved account is administered by law, as Alipate said. Everything that we do is administered by the FNPF Act, and it's very specific that the preserved account will only be allowed to members for access during their retirement. So in this case, we are administering their account in accordance to law, and FNPF the members are being assisted through the top up by government on that balance.
Thank you very much for that. So, Mr. Wangarawai, FNPF has been in the spotlight since COVID-19 took hold here in Fiji with regards to assistance. We've seen on social media how a lot of members often use the line, "That's our money," when they're unable to access their funds or if they have exhausted their general account balance. How do you respond to that?
When you really look at it in terms of the contributions, when you look at the balance that someone has, there are three contributors to that monies. Firstly, it's the members' contributions currently, which is 5%. Prior to that, it was 8% before it came down on the 1st of April. And then the employer puts in 10%. Now, due to the reduction, it's 5%. So there's a contribution from your employer, and there's a contribution from you as the employer. And there's also a third contributor, which is the FNPF, in terms of the interest. So if you like, there are three owners to that money. And until you are 55, we are governed by the FNPF Act and policy, so which means that it's administered according to the law that we have. So when you really look, in fact, there are three owners to that money. You, the member, your employer, who also puts in supplements that money, the contribution they pay, and FNPF is the third owner of that money. So all of us collaborate to ensure that at the end of the day, in terms of the purpose of the Act, that the sufficient money is preserved for you when you retire. So this is why there are strict policies and guidelines in accordance with the Act that will enable us to fulfill the mandate in which we were established. And this is basically also to look, because when we were doing the reforms in 2012, we've come up with some very alarming stats. Currently, the majority of our members, 67% of our members as of now, have balances of less than $10,000. So, in a nutshell, the basic purpose of FNPF, when it is established, was to ensure that the bulk of them build up and preserve their money for their retirement. But if after 54 years of existence, the large portion of our members are still having less than the $10,000 balances, that's a failure on FNPF's part. And this is also why the drive for us to ensure that we educate our members and our public to see what has gone wrong. And that's why we've done away with the 23 grounds of withdrawals. We've introduced the preservation policy 70-30, and to enable the members acquire more for their retirement, so that in the end, we are mandated to look after your money, to collect.
For our viewers, don't go, we will have our third and final segment after this break.